Okay, morning. I'm going to try this again. I have not actually sat down to make a video yet. This is my first attempt, but I mean, this is my first attempt as far as like actually pressing the button. I have sat down several times to try, but this is the first time I've gotten as far as actually pressing record. So we'll see how that goes. Good morning. It's Tuesday. Uh, I have a fairly lengthy list of notes here, but I'm not sure how long it's going to take me to go through them. It might be very short. It might be very long. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to go. Um, I'm I'm feeling a little bit abused today. I overdid it physically yesterday, which we will get to. Um, so I'm doing better now than I was earlier. I thought earlier I was going to have to do this like lying down because I couldn't really like sitting up and sort of maintaining physical posture in an upright position was a little bit too much for me, but I think I can do it now. I've got a heat pad on my lap because my legs are unpleasant right now. So it should be okay. I think it's gonna work. Maybe. We'll see. Um, okay, so Phoebe, I really enjoyed your video. I know you were concerned that maybe like it needed some editing, but I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. So good job, I guess. Um, First of all, on my list of things here, the one that catches my eye that I would just like to start with because it's very short is $115 a month for a gym is absurd, and I don't understand how anybody could possibly like there is no amount of gym usage that would feel to me like $115 a month worth. But also like I gym is not really my thing. Like even when I was, able to like exercise and things like going to a gym would not ever have been my choice of exercise. So I can't imagine any situation in which I would feel good about paying $115 a month to go to a gym. No, that's weird. But I hope that you can like find something else that works for you that does not, require you to pay an insane and ridiculous amount of money. Um, yeah, that's just that. Um, you have mentioned stargazing a little bit before. We talked about it a little bit on the call before, I think. And yeah, I'm sorry that like the weather has been gross and that you haven't been able to do that. Like when you talked about it before, you sounded like you were really having a good time with it and like it was really like fulfilling and enjoyable. And so I'm sorry that it has been, not really accessible for you recently. The weather has been pretty gross. Like I know you said it's been raining like constantly for you. It has been raining constantly here. All of the weather reports every single day for the past like 3 weeks or something for I don't know, a while. And for the foreseeable future, every day is just like rain or rain and then snow or snow and then rain or just winter weather warning, like hazardous weather. Um, we're lucky because we're like on the valley floor, so we're at a low enough elevation that we don't really get most of the snow. It has snowed a little bit, but not a lot, and it doesn't like everything is so wet because it has rained so much that the snow like when it hits the ground, it just like lands in a puddle and just kind of melts immediately. Or or fairly quickly, like as soon as the temperature goes up a tiny bit. Um, so like and it hasn't snowed that much. So it's only snowed a little bit, but it has rained. It has rained and rained and rained, like quite a lot. Everything is really muddy, um, which has been a challenge for other reasons, which we again we'll get into. Um, but so yeah, I'm sorry that your stargazing situation is not working out. I don't. I feel like there must be some kind of workaround in this day and age, some kind of something, but I don't know what that would be. Um, Oh, also, I was gonna ask you like before, and then like I forgot. But when we talked about it before, I was gonna ask you like if you were. I know that you said that one of your reasons for doing this was that it was something you could do that was free, but like I was gonna ask you if you were interested in like getting a telescope or like if you were gonna like look into it or anything. Like I'm not obviously not like one of the really super pro like major ones, but like I know that there are sort of like amateur telescopes that are at like an easier price range. Um, I vaguely feel like we had a very small telescope when I was really little, but I don't know why we would have that because my parents are not stargazers, and I don't know what we would have done with it or why we would have had one, but I feel like we had a very small like amateur telescope when I was like little. I don't know what would have happened to it. Like I don't know. That's weird. Um, but yeah, so like is that a thing that you're interested in or um like I don't know. Um I had somewhere else I was going with that, but I have lost it already, so sorry. Um I hope that your fan fiction situation is going well. I remember you like talking about writing before and saying that you were writing fan fiction and really enjoying it. Um, and like, it's hard when something is like so consuming like that. You really like hyper focus on something, and because it's fun, like that's why you're doing it. It's like you're really enjoying it, but at the same time, it's very difficult. It can be really like consuming and um, you know make it hard to like do other stuff, and that is a problem. I don't have any like good useful things to say about it, but just yeah, I commiserate. It sucks. I'm sorry that it's being difficult. I hope it evens out for you, I guess. Um, what else have I got here? Oh, I thought that your advice to Nella was much better than mine, for one thing. Much more helpful and interesting and cohesive and just generally like I didn't really have anything to say that was useful. Um, yeah, I think if you can like if you can work it into an action of some sort, as you say, I think that that's probably useful and might be very helpful. Um, like I'm trying to remember like what it was like for me when I turned 30. Like what was happening then and I was really sick during that period, so it's like it's hard for me to remember exactly what was going on. Um, but for me, yeah, it was not really so much, like I said before, it was not really so much like a physical issue for me, like so much worrying about aging or anything like that as it was um, like a mental shift, a shift in the way that I was like perceiving things. Um, so yeah, I don't know, maybe just lean into it. I I don't know. Maybe that's it. Like maybe that's the thing. Just just sort of go for it. Lean into it and get weird. um, yeah, I don't have better advice than that, but I think maybe that you had at least some kind of practical um, suggestion, which is probably useful. Uh, so what else have I got? I got oh you asked you were talking about the Project for Awesome mod team and stuff. Um, and yeah, yeah, as you said, like maybe working from 5 p.m. to 9 a.m. maybe not the best single shift even for an abled person. Um, it was a little bit more than I intended. I didn't set out to do it that way. It did not like that was not my original intent. That's just kind of the way things worked out because um, the, I was sleeping in the middle of the day which meant that then when I woke up and started, it was already like, you know, 4:30-ish, 5-ish, but it was about 5 by the time I really like checked all the Slack messages and kind of got caught up and actually got back into the chat. It was about 5. And then like I wanted to stay around for as much of the like night shift as I could because we don't have very many mods during the night period. Um, Sort of like the wee hours. We don't have a lot of people around during that. And so I wanted to stick around for that if I could. And then it was like, well, by the time I would have normally, been like, okay, it's time for me to go to bed now, it was like we were winding up for, sort of the last few hours of the live stream. And so I was too like awake and there was too much stuff going on. And I was like, yeah. So I just stuck around. um, and yeah, I did a lot of time there. Maybe not the best way, but uh, yeah, I was very tired by the end. But I will say even though I worked as much or more in terms of hours than I normally do for P4A, I felt less stressy about it, I guess. So I guess I did something right, and although I was extremely tired, I didn't feel just completely mangled in the same way that I sometimes do coming out of P4A. So I did something better this year. I don't really know how I managed that, but whatever. This is kind of a tangent from what I intended to talk about here, which was the mod team, which was the thing that you mentioned. Um, yeah, the okay, so there is um, a weird conglomeration of people that work behind the scenes at P4A, and some of them are people that actually work for Complexly, which is the company like John and Hank's company that does all the stuff. Um, so like some of the people are Complexly employees, and they like are official people, and they do all of the actual P4A work, all the like official stuff, all the scheduling, all of the everything. They do all of that. And then there's a group of um, volunteer mods, and we just like moderate the chat basically, and do that kind of thing. We like interface with the actual like chat people, and like if there are questions going on in the chat that need to be answered by somebody else, then we like take that to the Slack and say chat is asking this, or there's somebody in chat who had some kind of problem with their perk and needs to be fixed. They need somebody to talk to. We put that in the Slack and talk, give it to the actual people who know what they're doing and have some kind of actual power and authority, which we do not have. Um, and the people that you find moderating in the chat are a combination of the volunteer mods, which is us, and the Complexly people. There's always at least one Complexly person kind of monitoring things, although they might not be very like active in the chat. And so the way that this all like the way that the almost all of the volunteer mods came from the same thing, the same recruitment thing, which is back in 2016, Hank made a video about Black Lives Matter. And it was right after YouTube had implemented the mod ability, like it had given channels the ability to like add people as moderators. That was not a thing that you could do before. And so it was right after like modding became a thing on YouTube, and Hank was going to make this video that he knew was going to get a lot of trolls and like bad stuff. And so he put out a call and was like, I want some people to come and moderate this video. I just need people to like moderate the comments for this video because I know it's going to be full of bad stuff. And like I just need to like keep a lid on it. And so that's what we volunteered for, was just to be moderators for that one video. And then like I assumed that he was going to take our mod powers away after that. Like I assumed he was just going to like unmod us, but he did not. And then like P4A came around, and it did not like occur to me. I hadn't really, I knew that like a couple of the other people had kept moderating um, Vlogbrothers videos, but like I hadn't really. And then P4A came around that year, and like I saw somebody that I recognized moderating, because at this point we didn't have any way to like know who the other mods were or anything, unless they were somebody that we just happened to like have talked to in some way, like someone that we happen to have interacted with. Um, because like mods on the Vlogbrothers channel, like in the comments of a video, there's no like indicator that anybody is a mod. So like unless they just say I am a mod, you know, you're there's nothing. Um, you do show up in if you're in the chat on the live stream, then you show up with a blue wrench. But if you're just in the comments section, then there's no indicator. So none of us knew who the others were, except for like just a couple of other people. So I recognized somebody in the live stream chat moderating, and I went, "Hey, that's my friend from the mod team." And then I went, I still have mod powers. I should probably be moderating. And so I jumped in and started moderating, and then that was my first like P4A moderating experience. And then we did not have any way to interact with each other or with the Complexly people. Like we would literally be having conversations with the Complexly people in the chat in the middle of the live stream because we had no other way to contact them. It was not ideal. And this went on for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, something like that, where we just had like, no real point of contact where we could interact with anything, and it was very difficult. And so then my friend from the mod team, she actually did have like somebody that she could contact at Complexly, and we we basically wrote this letter begging for them to give us some kind of way for all the mods to interact. And eventually they gave us a Slack channel. And so we have this whole like Slack thing, and we've been doing that. We've been using the P4A Slack thing for about 3 or 4 years now, like 3 years, I think, something like that. And it's so much better. I cannot express how much better it is in terms of the modding experience. Not least because now we can see who the other mods are, which is very helpful, and we can actually like have conversations that are not in public on the chat, which is very difficult. Um, so yeah, that worked out much better. But yeah, almost all of the volunteer mods are people who came from that first Black Lives Matter video. There's only been like 1 or 2 people added since then. Um, Everybody has been from the first thing. But again, we didn't know each other because we couldn't find each other. So like we've technically been working together this whole time, but not really. Only a couple of us like sort of knew who the others were, or only knew who a couple of the other people were. So that was the thing. But yeah, now that we've been like working, now that we've had the Slack thing, now everybody has worked together enough, and we've got like a system down. We've got all this like stuff in place now that is much easier, and now we're all used to working together because we have worked together and actually been able to talk to each other for a few years now. So now like everything is going pretty well. It's much smoother. It's much easier to deal with, and yeah, like they're really good people, and they're so much fun to work with, and like we now have like ways to like joke around with each other and stuff, while we're like in the behind the scenes chat, while we're in the middle of like trying to do things, and that makes it a lot easier. And it's really fun, and we have like a really good group of people working together who now like kind of know what we're doing, which makes it much easier and much better. Um, yeah. The other thing that I have to talk about this week is the puppies who are evil and who are going to be sent to Poland. Alex, in particular, like Nella, I am like right on the verge of popping him like in a bubble mailer and slapping some stamps on it and like throwing him in the drop box. Oh my God. We took them in. I told you like that we took them into the vet. This is such a long video. I'm sorry this is so long. I'm keep talking. I just keep talking. Um, we took them to the vet for their spay and neuter appointments. And like they were being so good and everything was so great up until that point, and then we brought them home from that and they have just been hellions ever since. They were supposed to be like the I mean the vet sent them home with pain meds and like sedatives because they're young and they're full of energy and they've just had surgery and they have stitches and like, you know. So we've been faithfully giving them their sedatives, but the sedatives might as well be sugar pills for all the good that they seem to be doing. They're not sedating anything. And so we have spent all of this time like trying to keep the puppies from accidentally ripping their stitches open because they are bouncing off the walls and they're just like they're so bad. Like Alex in particular has been a real problem because he has started getting out of the yard again, which he was doing really good about. We had gotten everything all like sealed up and nobody was getting out of the yard and it was great. And then all of a sudden, like maybe a week ago, he just started getting out again. And we keep finding places and he keeps creating new ways to get out of the yard. And so we keep we keep like sealing things up and he keeps finding new ways. And we finally sealed up everything and we were like, okay, like this is good. It's going to be great. And part of the reason that I am so tired today, like I didn't know whether I was going to be able to sit up, the reason that I've got the heat pad and the whole deal is that we spent like 2 hours yesterday um, like fixing the fencing, like taking down some of the old stuff and like putting up a new like thing of wire and like this whole thing. And so we spent like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I don't know. It was a while. It was very tiring. I spent a lot of time like getting up and down and it was like not great and I'm really having a rough day today, but like it's okay. So we were so excited. We were hoping that that was gonna be okay, at least for a little while. He got out again today. And the way that he got out is the problem because the way that he got out was by just simply climbing the fence and popping over the top. And I just like, I don't know what we're gonna do about that. Like, that's a problem. So, yeah, I'm just gonna put him in like a bubble mailer and send him to Poland because I just cannot anymore. I just, I don't even know what to do with that. Um, so yeah, we're gonna have to figure out some way to like, I don't know, make the fence taller, I guess. Too tall for him to climb. I don't, I don't know. I'm so tired. I'm so tired of having to do this. It's so bad. Like it was working out so well, and then like suddenly it all just fell apart. It's not great. Um, but yeah, so Nella, prepare for an influx of puppies. At least a single puppy. Um, Theta was really funny today because she was outside with him when he climbed the fence and got over, and she couldn't do it. So she let herself back into the house and went in and tattled and tattled and tattled and tattled. And so, like, my parents were just, I didn't know they were outside. I was like, because I was in here. Um, so the parents were just like, okay, what is upsetting Zeta? You know, and they were just getting up to go and figure it out when the neighbor came over and was like, dog's out again. So, yeah. So that's a thing. Um, so good times. This is an extremely long video. We're at 25 minutes now. Sorry, this is so long. It's because I'm so tired, and I sometimes when I get really tired, I get like this, and I just talk, and then I forget to stop because like my brain is too tired to like process things the way that it normally would. And I once had to give a speech in school. Like I had to like present a research paper, and I was chronically sleep deprived at that point because I was really having a bad time health wise, and I was extremely sleep deprived. And then I also only slept like I think like an hour or something the night before, and I went in and gave this research paper, like this presentation on this research paper, and I just talked for like literally an entire class period. I just couldn't stop talking. It was way longer than I was supposed to go. I just kept talking and talking and talking, and nobody wanted to interrupt me because I was still continuing to talk about the thing I was supposed to talk about. Um, but like I couldn't like I would almost like fall asleep while I was talking. Like I would come to and realize that I had been talking and I didn't know what I had been saying. And I would have to like try and figure out like what did I just say and try to cover it so that I could then like continue with what I was saying. It was bad. I got it like an A on the presentation, I think because everyone was just so overwhelmed with how much stuff I just kept saying. Um, but yeah, I don't recommend it. So this is yet another tangent that I have gone on because I continue to talk. I'm going to stop talking now because this is very long. We are now at 27 minutes. I apologize. So I love you all very much. 27 minutes worth, apparently. And I am sorry about this video. And I will see you next week. Don't forget to be awesome.